Welcome in, everyone. We're at the Furniss Fast Lane, and we've made it to Friday. Facts, not feelings, Furniss Fast Lane. I have the one and only Raymond Scarpelli with me, and Ray, I'm super, super stoked to jump in this. As we're talking, I just realized I didn't put my phone on silent, so it's on silent, but I'm like getting notifications popping up on my iPad.
I did the same thing.
I'm like, you think I haven't done this ever? Oh wait, I do this for a living, so we're gonna hurry and do not disturb. So anyone that tries to now reach out to me, I'm no longer going to respond to you. So with that, we've already got some comments. Peter, as always, buddy, Peter, you are the first. It's either you or it's gonna be Jeff Revilla. It's usually one of you two that are coming in first. Here we got first in. Looking forward to this one, Brooke. Dealership innovation, what a unique concept. Well, yes, and then Jeff, sure. Jeff, so I've got a quick question for you, buddy. You were asking yesterday on the walk and talk that you were unable to, and also, Jeff, this is for you, buddy. You were talking how you couldn't, the notifications weren't coming up anymore. Let me know if that how-to helps with you, and hopefully now you can start getting notifications when we go live. So let me know. And we've got Russell. Russell, hello to you, sir. Russ, it's been a minute. I know we talk virtually every Friday, but it's good to see you, buddy. At some point, we really do need to catch up on a thing called the phone. That'd be nice. So with that, Ray, how are you doing? We were talking offline, been a little bit of a crazy week for both of us, but how are things going for you?
Things are good. I mean, here it's end of month, right? Like in the car business, it's always, it's the fourth quarter of the football game. We got to get a win here, right? So, it's crazy. October, we're in quarter four here right now. So we were just talking about, commercial vehicles and how that's been a big focus of our dealership. We got a ton of them here in stock, and some of these businesses at the end of the year got to spend X amount. And that's been a topic of training and innovation here at the dealership, just getting, our product specialists a little bit more in tune and kind of taking a more like consultative kind of approach as opposed to just like straight up like selling the car, right? It's hey, we've got X amount of commercial vehicles. What fits your business needs? More of a counselor type approach, I think, is more effective.
Yeah, that's it. We'll jump into that. Jeff, you're asking where the aviators, buddy. They're literally like, if I go around the corner right here, that's where my aviators are. And I don't know if you caught it, Jeff, but I was in the sun for a hot minute. That's why the aviators were on. Plus, I have very sensitive eyes. We all know that at this point. But yes, they're around the corner. I do not wear my sunglasses at night or in a house. But yes, Larry, my good friend, buddy, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. I think you're in New Jersey right now. I don't know. You're somewhere in the United States. It's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? But to your point, we're talking like the EVs and just different ways to tackle that. And while that was definitely a portion we talked about in the show yesterday, that is such a key item of how you're going to go about that. And some people I don't care. You hate them, you love them, you're indifferent, whatever. Do your thing. They're not going away. Like they may switch into hydrogen, it may switch into something else, but while the numbers have decreased a little bit on the expectation of where it's going to be, it's still there. And if you want those few extra sales, how are you going about doing that? What's your process in house in order to capitalize on those? Because there's a small chunk of the population that wants an EV, and that's what they want. They don't want gas powered in the ICE vehicle. So we were talking offline. We're like, okay, next time that I'm out there next week, I'm like, we got to talk more about getting that process in place there. And Robbie, man, I feel like I haven't talked to you forever, bud. I hope you're doing well there. But yeah, I mean, some of the other thing we talked about a lot. We unpacked a ton yesterday on the episode. What was one of your main takeaways?
I mean, for me, I think one of the key things is just I would love to just see dealerships really like as a whole embrace all these new changes in the industry. How do we attract more talent? And I think like one of the keys of that really is like, hey, let's try to have our salespeople work their network of people through their social media, right? Like everybody has like a small like little following, whether that's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Empower your salespeople to attract people to the dealership to do business with you, and really building that culture, encouraging them to do that. Because like here, like listen, like we've joked around, right? Like I can spend $1 million on paid search, and that's great, and that's important. That's a key part of it. I'm not saying spend $1 million, but that is a piece of the puzzle. But really, to me, it's encouraging your salespeople to pull people at your dealership using their own kind of free advertising, because the dealer spends a ton advertising to pull people to the store. But ask your salespeople, empower them to attract people to the dealership. And that's something, that's a culture that I've worked very hard on to try to encourage our people to do that. Because when I was selling cars, the first thing that I used to attract customers outside of grabbing somebody off the lot was social media. I would check into the dealership. I would say, hey, I'm here. I'd put my hours up. I would take a couple pictures of cars. I'd post them online. And you'd be surprised at the people that are going to comment and be like, oh, hey, I didn't know that you worked there. Or, hey, you know, that car looks pretty cool. Like, hey, I'm going to come by and see it. And I think that that's a huge thing moving forward. Huge thing.
It is. I was talking to a friend earlier this morning and just said, hey, you know, what do you like on social? And I was like, man, I'm not even really big on social. He goes, I know that I'm going to need like a second persona. I was like, yeah, it's the same person, just a different, you know, dedicated to just business. But I go, it's amazing the difference, because one, statistically, whomever is going to buy a vehicle from you, or even if I buy whatever, I'm going to go and check out their Facebook page, their Instagram, whatever their social media, to say, okay, what are they about? What is their why? And it's not just the business. I'm going to check out the individual. And so it is really, really key to have that dialed in and just be true to you. Don't be someone you're not. If like as I saw this, my friend, I just go, are you into? Do you want to do more education videos? Do you want to do education content? Do you want to be funny? Find your niche and then go with it. And then going back up to Russell here, I saw your comment here, bud. Pre-owned EVs are going to be an up and coming part of the business, don't you think? I would say yes, and it's been for a bit. Yes, is it leveled out a little bit? Yeah, it has. But I do think whatever EV that is going to be, like I said, we went from plug-in to hybrid to EV batteries to you're seeing hydro. I've seen all kinds of weird stuff. So I do think, just as we've said before on the show, where people were very, very against diesel. Well, diesel's still here. There's still a percentage of the population that wants that. You're going to say the same thing with EVs. So, Russell, I do agree with that, buddy. Right there with you, that it is not only up and coming, it has been, and it also depends on what your lifestyle is. Like someone like me, if I live downtown, but if I was only downtown, it could make more sense. But I'm seeing clients that are further away, and it's like that range anxiety of like, okay, I'm in the car for 4 hours. Like, do I really want that? And then also being in a high rise, there's very limited charging situations. So it's like, while you might have chargers now, maybe not later. So there's a lot to take into consideration. Maybe you live in the mountains and you want to take your freaking Tesla in the mountains. Like, that's probably not the best course for you, but just understanding it. And from an affordability angle on used, okay, I'm trying to understand what you say here, bud. EVs have gotten way more affordable, that's for sure. It's crazy how much those have been. So
I think he's asking, like, hey, the affordability of EVs, moving forward. I would say 5-10 years ago, EVs were extremely expensive, and there are some expensive options now. However, for example, one of the brands that we represent, Chevrolet, has one of the most affordable EV SUVs out there, the Equinox EV. In fact, that we're starting to do some volume with that product. So, there's affordability options out there, and I'm sure when those cars eventually get to become a pre-owned option after, say, a lease end or, a few years down the road, I think that there's going to be a ton of affordable EV options, and whether it's new or pre-owned.
Amen. I agree. One of the things that I love about, one of the many things I love about you all is you're talking about the social aspect, but also just the community. You guys are so ingrained with the community. And I had mentioned yesterday on the walk and talk about Jeeps on the Run. For those who are unaware of what Jeeps on the Run is, what this whole event is, talk a little bit about this and how incredible this event is.
So here, really, it's almost kind of become a Christmas tradition from some of the families around here. That's what's, I think, really cool to me. It's something my wife and I enjoy. That kind of kicks off our Christmas, is Jeeps on the Run. It's family friendly. It's the first Sunday of every December. We start at the dealership, and right there is kind of, here you see just a huge show of Jeeps just in itself. People decorate them up for like Christmas, like you've got reindeer on top, you've got Christmas lights on some of these things. It's really cool. Just it's almost like a car show in itself, just being there at the store, seeing them all lined up. And then really the message behind it is charitable, right? So we start at the dealership, we load up these Jeeps with Toys for Tots, benefits Toys for Tots, and then from there we go to the toy drop off, which is at the Marriott Lincolnshire. So it's like a fun like little like ride and drive too. You got the toys in the car, you're almost like a mini Santa Claus, you know what I mean? So it's really it's awesome. There's an after party at the Marriott Lincolnshire. We're trying to get some more participation actually at the after party. You can find out a little bit more. You can meet the founder of Jeeps on the Run, find out what the group's about. It'll make you want to get a Jeep if you don't have one, and you don't have to have a Jeep to participate in the after party. So really, it's great and it's fun for all families.
And I was talking to Mike about this yesterday. I was like, hey, correct me if I'm wrong. You guys are the #1 donation like contributor for Toys for Tots. Is that? I think that's what he said. Is that correct?
Correct. That is true. For Northern Illinois, we're the largest donator for Toys for Tots. It's something we're really proud of, being a dealer sponsor with Jeeps on the Run, and you're actually able to win a Jeep as well. There's raffle tickets you can purchase to buy the Jeep. 100% of it is donated. It goes towards Toys for Tots, all that donation. So, I mean, it's really a unique event. It's a fun event. We're proud to be partnered up with them as a dealer sponsor with Jeeps on the Run.
That's so cool. Like, and I was saying, like, before I moved back down here, I would see these Jeeps just like, every so often. I didn't know what it was. I was like, man, there's a lot of freaking Jeeps. There's a lot going on here. And then obviously now I know what it is, but it's just such a cool, there's so many, there's no downside. Like, it's so cool what you guys are doing. It's obviously a great benefits Toys for Tots. You give away a freaking Jeep. Like, that's pretty cool too. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to something Russell said. Like, Jordan, you chimed in here. If you're on right now, like, drop a comment in. I'm getting a notification on the left-hand side of my screen right now on one of my screens saying that one of the connections is not working. I've tried like 10 times now to get it connected. So let me know if it's coming through okay to you. Yeah, let me know what you're up to on Friday as well. So
technology is great when it works, right?
Yeah, man. I joke that like anytime you go live, anything that's going to break will break live. Those have been OGs of the show. I was going live and full out, my shoulder popped out. And I was like, well, I literally adjusted the button to go live. So I was like, oh, we're just going to do the shoulder with the shoulder. And it's like down like this. I was like, well, this is the joys of going live. Like, things will just break without you knowing about it. Russell, I know you're here, buddy. It is the Matrix right now. It very much is. And yeah, and hello to Raymond. And am I frozen to you or just me? Am I frozen to you?
You are frozen to me. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So this is awesome. Frozen. And you can hear me though. And that's a great. It's a great frozen.
We're ad-libbing here. Yeah. We're gonna be like God, what's his name? Leo DiCaprio and Django Unchained. You remember, like, he like broke that glass and he was actually like bleeding, but he like went through the entire scene. And I mean, that's what we're doing right now. We're just ad-libbing.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna pull you over here for a hot second and tell my screen. And here's the crazy thing as this goes through is that I had Google Fiber installed yesterday. So like, and I'm hardwired in. So I am going like obscenely fast with internet. So I'm not sure what's going on, but we'll keep it on your bright and smiley face until it decides to come back here. I'm not sure what's going on, but let's see. Nope, it's still definitely frozen. So that's awesome. But we're just gonna roll with it. Peter is saying, Raymond is perfect. You're awful still. Thanks, Peter. Appreciate that, buddy.
Peter, you're making me blush, brother.
We're just gonna keep it on Raymond until whatever's going on with my computer decides to come back here. And it's funny, I was recording an episode on Monday and had quite a few technical glitches. And I finally was like, you know what, screw it. And I had gig speed before, but Google Fiber is just more reliable. And so I was like, oh, we'll make the switch. And so I was like, I should have no issues today, except now we're frozen. So I've got nothing on why that's happening. But with that, let's go with another one. Why we've got you up on the screen here. And Jordan is saying here, and now it's a solo Raymond show. Raymond, it's 100% Raymond's Fast Lane right now, Jordan. You're correct. Too fast for your Jordans. If only I had Jordans on though, Peter, because I'm big like not wearing shoes in the house. Now I clean my shoes after every time I wear them, but it's usually either Uggs or with the lights on, whatever. You can't see the lights because nothing's working right now, but it's a little hot. What was one of your other takeaways? We talked about the community involvement. We've talked about EVs. What was one of your other takeaways? Oh, maybe you're frozen now. Are you frozen now?
Hold on.
Oh, can you hear me at all?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. What was one of your other takeaways?
So one of my other takeaways, I mean, for us here, I mean, we highlighted EVs, community involvement, and I think what I think would be a huge benefit is just to attract our top talent here at the dealership, is really encouraging them to be the kind of, I think they kind of go like hand in hand, right? Like EVs and empowering your salespeople. I think it kind of goes hand in hand, because I really think that EV customer is also going to be somebody that's very technology proficient, right? So I think that social media again is going to be a huge factor in attracting that EV customer, and somebody that is, I think we as an industry, I think really need to kind of analyze, like, how are we going to market and sell these EVs outside of just the dealer, right? So like we got to look at that as a tier one level. I think we encourage the customer choice, right? So you'd have, whether you want to go with gas, whether you want to go with EV, whether you want to go with hybrid, like, hey, dealership, we've got options. And a dealer being really forward facing and embracing those challenges, those changes. I think that that's a huge part of this industry moving forward, is just being able to be nimble, be able to pivot, and look at some things in the car business, like, hey, our industry is, I don't want to say slow to change, but just things that we've held true to our hearts for the better part of almost like 100 years now, whether it's servicing or retailing cars. This changing space that we're in right now is going to be more change during this time period now over these next 10 years than and probably the last 50 years. And I think that as long as the dealer's mentality is to be forward facing and embracing these EV changes, maybe doing some different things with employees, finding ways to motivate them, I think that that's going to be important moving forward.
Couldn't agree more. Peter said, unfortunately, industry is repelling the idea of change. And Peter, it is like, I won't say that we're repelling. I'm going to take a lighter touch to that one. Is we're just slow to change. Like there are some dealerships that are so far ahead of everybody else, which is great. I was talking to a friend recently, and she was looking at getting into, talking at different conferences and events. And I go, really look outside of automotive, because we get so stuck in our own bubble, which is fine, but there's so much more to that. If you look outside and say, hey, I'm looking for, let's say, social media. Well, in auto, we're kind of slow to the whole social media thing. So go to another conference or another event, or teach yourself, whatever it's going to be, to outside of auto, and take those skills and bring them in. I know we've talked a lot about Mohawk and how well they've done it. And Grace, I mean, she comes from outside the industry, and she did a incredible job with what she's doing right now. And it's taking what was, hey, what do I like? What's fun? What do I want to interact with? So taking all that, and Peter, it is a glacier movement. I'm not gonna be wrong. Kind of like me trying to connect back to the StreamYard right now. It's kind of a glacier movement. Like, I don't think I'm looking at my now. It's now not even, I don't even have a video anymore. So that's where we're sitting. But it is, but be patient with that though, because once we do make that change, we have so much to offer in our industry. So I 100% agree with that. Peter, boom. Peter, like literally, I would show you right now. I see Raymond's screen, and I think you all can still hear me, but there's no screen of mine. So I got nothing here. Maybe my camera just is said, it's been a long week. We're done for the month at this point. Raymond, is there anything else that we missed of takeaways, or anything else you want to bring to the attention of the audience?
I mean, I think for me, I think one thing that fundamentally within our industry that I would like to see changed is to improve just our reputation as a whole in the industry. I'd like to see some more movement on a dealer. One of the things that's advantageous to us is all of our online pricing that we have, everybody qualifies for that. And I think that I'd like to see a movement more of, and I'm not saying it's everywhere, but there are individuals that have pricing that doesn't line up to what a consumer can buy it for. I'd like to see some movement as a whole, as an industry, from a reputation standpoint of here, the price that you post online, everybody qualifies for it. Everybody can buy it for that. And I think that that's not only an integrity thing, but it's a reputation thing for everybody. If we all just, I'm all for competition. I mean, I love sports. I grew up playing sports. That's my thing. The competitive aspect of dealerships is what gets me up every day to earn that deal, to, compete with the other dealer to earn that deal. I'm all for that as long as it's fair.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because after I get done with that walk and talk yesterday, I had a gal I've known for a long, long time back where I used to live, and she's like, "Hey, can you do a show more about like how, why do we get ripped off at dealerships and how to be more, all those things that are perceived." But the same breath, I was like, well, if you watch, that's what we talked about. Like, and I love the fact that you guys, whatever the price is, that everybody qualifies for that.
Everybody qualifies.
Everybody qualifies. And no, you guys take it a step further as well. Because I was like, I remember the first month or so we were together, and just how you guys are going over different stories of how well you've taken care of the customer. And then you've got the cars roll that exactly right. I was waiting for this raised price promise. Yeah, buddy, exactly. Go check it out. But even with the cars roll, assuming that this goes through in some capacity, you have whatever price you put up there, every single person has to qualify for that. Like that's just a very small portion of what the whole rule is. Like that, we've done more shows than that I can count, but that is a big, big one. And you guys are already set up for that because what you see is what you get. There's no like, oh, well, we told you this, but then you're going to come in and we're going to give you some windshield wiper fluid, maybe some rust proofing, and maybe some other blinker fluid. Like, no, like that's not how you guys roll.
No, not at all. Here, aftermarket add-ons, all those things, like we have that available to sell, but it's not you're forced to buy it. And I really think that that is something that just as a whole, from a moral perspective as a dealer, I'm against forced add-ons for the consumer. I think that should just be the consumer's preference and choice if they want to choose to purchase those. I think that running a business with integrity is huge for us. And that's something that I stand very strongly behind, that is outside of community, outside of being a forward-facing dealer, our raised price promise is the bedrock of our dealership. And I go to the grocery store with some of these folks that I'm selling cars to, same restaurant, whatever. I don't want to have to be in a situation where I meet somebody that I sold a car to and they were treated poorly or had those add-ons forced on them. I couldn't go to bed at night with knowing that I did something like that. So for us, I think as a dealer group, I think that's something extremely important, and we've gotten a lot of customers as a result of the way that we do business, just outside of the community aspects. Raised price promise is the bedrock and part of that.
And to that, perfect timing, Mike. Thank you for this. Mike Missick is saying no games, no headaches. I'll never shop anywhere else. The integrity of the Ray Auto Group is why we choose them to title sponsor for Jeeps on the Run. And that is encapsulates everything right there. And I know I've said this before. I'm going to say it again for those that maybe for some reason you didn't watch or listen to the podcast. Go back and watch it after this. But I will say the first time I walked into the store, it was just there's something different. And I'm in a lot of different dealerships. I am. And especially over my career. I mean, at one point I was in like 200 dealerships a year. I mean, I was in a ton of dealerships. And there's just, you can tell when you are seen as a human being and not a number. And that doesn't matter if it's the customer coming in, the employees, like there's just something different about you guys. And it's very much appreciated. And to Mike's point, like, why would you shop anywhere else? Also why you guys have been there for so long. And you're selling the mom, the grandfather, the kid, right, the grandkid. I mean, it's generational selling for sure.
it's all about the relationship. And I think that to me, again, outside the competitive aspect, why I enjoy the car business, but to me, I love the relationship aspect of it. The people aspect of it, it is so huge to me. Like one of the things, like, I mean, here, I almost get like choked up about it. Like like 2 weeks ago, I haven't seen my third grade teacher in, probably since third grade, but she came to us to buy a car because she knows our reputation and she knows what we did in the community. We built a playground at my old grade school, St. John's. She came in a couple weeks later, purchased a car. We were able to catch up, and it was cool. That relationship aspect of it, that's why I love the car business. That's why I love people, just to be able to, see somebody in the community, somebody that I grew up with that I haven't seen in a long time. That's why I love it. That's why I love this business, is to see those individuals again throughout my life. I mean, it's very rewarding. We are problem solvers. We are helping people do something that's important, transportation needs. And I think if a dealer really looked at themselves as an innovator, an entrepreneur, and somebody that is a force of good change, which is the bedrock of what we've done at our auto group. I really think that from a perspective, I think that the industry, people would look even more positively on it with that type of a mindset.
Before I get to that, Brian Ortega, welcome to the show, buddy. I actually talked about you yesterday. Very the zombie commercials look awesome. Happy Halloween to you. Happy early Halloween. And so, Ray, did I hear that you guys built? I didn't know that. I knew about your teacher coming in. You said you built a playground.
Correct. Yes.
No way.
Yeah, we built a playground at St. John the Baptist in Johnsburg. That's just one of the things that we do throughout the years. We've got the Big Play program that we sponsor, 5 local high school athletic programs. There's lots of different things that we do. And that's something that was near and dear to my heart. My best friend went to school at St. John's, who I still talk to, who's the best man at my wedding. So St. John's and the opportunity to give back there was a great and fulfilling experience for me.
That's so cool. Now, I want to go a little off topic here. Like, for those that don't know, Ray obviously we're both very big sports people. We love our sports. You do podcasts, but like it's not just automotive podcasts you do. So talk a little bit about that, because it's really cool to watch those.
So here, I love it. Actually, Adam was here the other day. We filmed a couple segments to put in the show for CHGO. It's very similar. It's kind of they've got 5 different sports, right? So it's CHGO Bears, CHGO Bulls, Cubs, White Sox, Blackhawks, and it's part of All City Network. It's a growing sports podcast. They're starting to opening them up in like all cities, right? So they've got it in Phoenix, they got it in Philadelphia, Chicago, a couple of other locations as well. And for me, I grew up playing sports at St. John's, at Marion, where I went to high school. And so I've always been a big sports guy. It's just something, not only that I bonded with my dad, but friends, customers. It's always something I've enjoyed talking about. Besides cars, sports was pretty close to cars. And so that podcast gives me opportunity to talk a little bit about sports, also promote the dealership, kind of similar to how we're doing here. Very free-flowing conversation and honest conversation, something that's not pre-recorded, where you're talking, right? That type of advertisement is better than any kind of 30-second radio or TV commercial. Is that type of space. Like, hey, I'm out there. I like talking cars. I like talking sports. And so I've had a good time doing that. And actually last year I was doing some of their like fantasy football analysis. I got a little trophy here. I won last year, and hopefully I'm able to do the same this year. I'm 6-1, so we'll see how it goes. But I've had a fun time talking sports and cars with the CHGO guys.
It doesn't get much better than that. And I love that, like, once again, we're going outside of automotive of, hey, let's look at here, let's look at that, look at different things and how to bring, one, humanize you, number one. Yep. Number two is to bring more eyeballs at the end of the day, because Social, we get caught up a lot of times. Oh, where are the leads? Where are the leads? Well, with social, it's different because I want to be top of mind for when the person is thinking about buying a whatever vehicle may be. We're already top of mind. Hey, where should I service my car? Well, I know Ray's going to take care of me, so I'm going to go to Ray's. We got Jeeps on the Run, saying Ray Auto Group and the Scarpelli family have donated, holy shnikes, over $250,000. I'm going to repeat that one more time before I go any further. Ray Auto Group and the Scarpelli family have donated over $250,000 towards Jeeps on the Run over the past few years. Keep in mind, we're just one of many organizations that they support. Like that is, yeah, that's so cool. And then we're going to follow this up with Brian Ortega needs some fantasy tips, apparently, about fantasy football.
I got you, man. I got you. Message me. I start sit decisions. I'm all in, man. I'm all in. I love it.
Brian, I can't remember. He's with Valley High Toyota, and how close are you to LA? Because I just saw a thing this morning that it's like everything possible that's going on in LA is going on. We've got the World Series, like every major thing. I'm like, my brother's in Thousand Oaks. He's like just outside of LA. I was like, I would not drive for like this entire weekend if you're anywhere near that. So, Brian, you already live in a fantasy. Well, Brian does live in a fantasy world. He usually is filming on top of that. But no, so Brian, I can't remember how close you are to LA, but it's nuts. I don't know if you saw this. It was a meme of Ohtani looking down. He's like, ah. And everything is happening all at once in LA tonight. So good luck to that. So
that World Series is going to be amazing. I love baseball. And I mean, this is the kind of the matchup that baseball's been looking for at least 10 years from a rating standpoint. You got both coasts, you got Aaron Judge, you got Shohei Ohtani. So, I mean, it's going to be epic. I'm going to tune in. For sure.
And I have to always preface this because people are going to always think that I'm a bandwagon fan. I'm like, no, my mom was a Yankees fan. So I was born not only a Bulls fan, a Jordan fan, I was born a Yankees fan. So no, we will definitely be tuning in tonight. I know I'm going to take some hate about the whole Yankee situation. I'm aware of that. I'm okay with that.
But not quite a front runner. I mean, they haven't made the World Series since 2009. They haven't made the World Series since 2009. So it'll be cool. Really, LA, New York, it's going to be great.
I'm super, super stoked for it. And there we go. Dodgers, USC, Lakers, Pink Floyd. You're 60 miles away, and I will be at the Brian. Buddy, I love you. Right now, I'm not feeling the love so much. You got to throw down. You're going to be at the World Series game tomorrow. Like, really, buddy? Come on. Did you see the craziness of the parking? The parking tickets were like $1,000 or something like that for parking.
Here, I park. I've been to a Dodgers game. I got a friend of mine that's a big Dodger fan. I've been to Dodger Stadium. That is a nightmare to park there. And I mean, I don't know what to say to people that are going there. They're going to spend the day. They're going to spend the day.
You probably should leave yesterday to get there, to park. Let's be honest.
Besides Wrigley, though, Dodger Stadium's amazing. It's probably my favorite baseball stadium besides Wrigley. So
yeah, I have I think I've talked about, but like a bucket list that I'm going to hit. Every ballpark, every arena, every football stadium. And baseball, I'm like 70% through, but I've not been to Dodger Stadium. So I've driven by it, but I've not actually seen a game there. So that's definitely on the list of like, okay, I got to check it out. Get a little Dodger dog, do the little Dodger expert.
I mean, that's the first thing I did when I got there. I'm like, I got to get a Dodger dog.
It's not that if I'm going to a baseball game and I love baseball, you got to get the hot dog and you got to get the beer. Like it's just, it's un-American not to get these
the
things.
Cracker Jacks,
some seeds, it's just how we roll.
Yep.
And we're gonna bringing in a sleeping bag, man. Brian, you joke, but buddy, you might not be back until Monday at this point. That's a good possibility. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Is there anything else we missed? I know we've covered a lot here, and thank you everyone for staying with us as we had some little bit of technical glitches. Joys of going live. Anything else we've missed, Ray?
No, I think that about covers it. I mean, I think, I really wanted to discuss with you just EVs, the importance of a dealership. And I think it really ultimately adds value to a dealership moving forward I think more and more people are going to come to a store for information. Mm-hmm. More and more people are going to come to a dealership to talk to a person, be like, hey, tell me a little bit about these EVs. Like, I'm curious, right? You can watch a ton of YouTube videos, right? You could do a lot of research, but I really think that person-to-person interaction when somebody's really thinking about purchasing an EV, I think is going to be a huge boon for dealerships moving forward, is just being that center of community, being that center of information, and doing business the right way. And I appreciate, Brooke, you giving me a platform to be able to talk about this, because I think it's something that's integral to the automobile business moving forward. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Oh, so welcome. I'm just glad it's always just so honored, always humbled, like having people on and learning from them, and especially you and your entire Ray Auto Group team, which is what you guys are doing. So, yeah, and that you see too many that are very much against EVs, and that's their choice. I totally get it. I also know that that's also a portion of people. It's like Carvana. Like, yes, did Carvana, does it have a small portion of the business? Yeah, but that means that those small portion want to do end-to-end online. Now, if you know anything about Carvana, it's not all online. There's about, I think the average is 12 phone calls per deal, but there's still the sentiment is there that there's that portion of our population that wants X, Y, and Z. And are we there to fulfill those needs? Are we there where the consumer is going to be? Whether that's an EV, whether that's digital retailing, whether that's whatever it may be, but to understand the consumer's needs and best be there and have the abilities to assist them. So I just thank you for having the open mindset. I super appreciate it, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, here, not only as a dealer do we sell gas, but we sell EV as well. We're going to be selling hybrids. It's just being consumer facing, being able to provide that information and that consultative approach, I just think is going to be huge for dealers moving forward. And I'm happy to say that our group, my father, and our management team and everybody has that vision. Everybody has that goal to be consumer facing and information facing. And I think that that's a huge for us moving forward.
Agree 100%. Well, that everyone, you all know the drill at this point. Find a way to serve a day. Find a way just to be the joy in someone's health, whether it's opening a car door, whether it's a kind smile, just do something to better someone's life today. Ray, thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you to your entire team. And with that, everyone, we will see everybody next week.